As always, I'd like to start off by thanking Scott Derby for all of his assistance with the State of the City speech and the slides, because without him, this wouldn't be possible. Last year at this time, I reported that 2020 had been a year like no other. Well, what can be said about 2021 except that it was remarkably resembled the previous year, given that we continued to be bombarded ad nauseum with all things COVID. Many ways in which we conduct our daily lives, both at home and work, have been changed forever. Most notably, for a large segment of our population, the line between home and work has blurred. As a nation, we continue to work through supply chain issues and increasing inflation. However, it is comforting to know that here in Indiana, we have a surplus in taxes and low unemployment rates. It feels good that our little piece of the world is in good financial shape. Here, we tend to look out for each other and find ways to celebrate and think of others first. One such example was a successful summer concert series fundraiser for our small local businesses, sponsored by Shepherd's Chevrolet Buick GMC and Sylvan Sellers. Unlike most reporting, most of our news is positive, in spite of the headwinds. I believe we here are positioned for greatness, and as you listen, I think you will agree that after you hear all that we have accomplished and everything that is planned for 2022. According to the numbers received from Clerk Treasurer Katie Ritchie, we ended 2021 on a very positive note by recording a budget balance of $22.7 million, and that is after having recently paid out over $1 million towards the downtown streetscape project. $14.8 million of the total is invested, which should serve us well as we navigate very uncertain times. The frugal approach we take to our operation can only assist with this during the next few years. The Clerk Treasurer's Office has worked diligently to cross-train their entire staff and is currently working on setting up automatic payments for utility bills, which will enhance convenience to our citizens. I appreciate her coordination with all of the departments in finding ways to save our precious tax dollars. The regional job market is quite robust, as over 25,000 jobs remain unfilled. Here in Noble County, that number stands at 1,200. The Noble County Economic Development Corporation continues to work hard, seeking out opportunities to further build and enhance the economic climate in this area. They were a key participant in our presentation for the Preserving Main Street grant. Frankly, between the efforts of the Chamber Director, Kristen Johnson, and the Noble County EDC team, I'm not sure if we would successfully done it without them. They have also positioned us to be a finalist for the READY grant, aimed at improving and increasing second-floor housing in our downtown, growing our trail system, and making available a cutting-edge learning opportunity for our local workforce through the Industry 4.0 lab. On top of all that, they were primary negotiator with a developer constructing the $2.2 million industrial shell building on Ohio Street. They, along with the Kendallville Local Development Corporation, made this investment in our community possible. Collaborations such as this are commonplace, and why I believe we are positioned for greatness, not only as a city, but collectively as a county and a region. Speaking of the Preserving Main Street grant, we are still on cloud nine that we were one of the 2 grants awarded across the entire state. We are truly honored that Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch returned to Kendallville to make a personal delivery of the $2 million check. These funds will provide the means with which major changes that our beloved Main Street needs in the form of historic preservation. One of the requirements of accepting this grant was agreeing to establish a Main Street manager position. The person chosen to fill that role is a familiar face to many of us, who is definitely passionate about our downtown, the aforementioned Kristen Johnson. I'm excited at the level of interest shown by our downtown building owners in participating in the grant program by over 25 who have applied. Each application was rigorously reviewed and ranked. The top 10 have been selected and notified and will soon be starting down the path towards major building enhancements, certain to change the way we all think of our downtown. Aimed at fostering the enthusiasm for positive change in our downtown by those not selected, the Redevelopment Commission is looking at ways to augment their existing facade program so that all of them can be served in some degree. This long successful grant program last year dispersed over $91,000 matching private investment from our own downtown business owners. You will notice new ordinances being created and put into place, measures to preserve and protect the exterior of these historic buildings, as well as commissions formed for construction oversight and financial integrity. I am so appreciative of all who have agreed to serve these efforts in some capacity and look forward to what is to come for our downtown. Our downtown enhancement efforts were put on national display during Thanksgiving weekend, where Kendallville was highlighted on HGTV's Hometown Takeover, Where Are They Now program. One particular corner of Main Street that had been home to a goal and dream of mine was directly across the street from City Hall, where once stood a dilapidated gas station. As you have likely seen, that previous eyesore is now a beautiful pocket park designed in-house and constructed by both city personnel and local contractors. I want to thank Susan Jansen for her leadership and vision to seeing this project through. She was instrumental in making trips, placing orders, and making important decisions along the way. Her most important efforts, though, may have been in contributing toward, as well as spearheading, raising the funds needed for materials, construction, and upkeep. City Building Inspector Dave Lang was the project manager and did an outstanding job of coordinating a lot of people working together to complete the majority of the park by Christmas. We plan to hold a ribbon-cutting celebration in the spring. I know we were all very pleased to see some of our beloved festivals return, giving us all some semblance of normalcy. The Ferry Festival saw record crowds. The Bluegrass Festival returned to the fairgrounds, and a very large Bixler Lake crowd enjoyed a beautiful evening for the patriotic pops and fireworks. Area residents looked forward to weekends so as to partake of Food Truck Fridays downtown, followed by the Farmers Market at the CLC. Kid City, drive-by trick-or-treat on Main, Christmas cards in the park, Winter Wonderland at the Windmill Museum, and the Christmas Parade, and of course, our Apple Festival rounded out our homecoming events. The first of many formal tree lighting ceremonies for the Main Street Christmas tree was seen by a large crowd of families who were able to enjoy a complimentary hot chocolate from Whatchamacakes afterward. We already have plans in mind to make this an even larger event next year. Unfortunately, the Noble County Fair Parade was canceled, and the fair itself was conducted a little differently to accommodate the local COVID restrictions. However, the young people were still able to show their animals. Economically, we continued to grow. New businesses welcome to Kendallville included Alley Cat's Antiques, Bun Box Inc., El Mariachi Mexican Grill, Gamers Gathering, Hollenbach Seafood, Inspiration Ministries, 100 Main, Salty Holdings LLC, Love Me Two Times Antiques, and K Vegas Bowling and Axe Throwing, which I'm personally interested in trying. We also continue to see growth in our industries in spite of these difficult times. Investments in equipment from our local industries include Flint & Walling at $6 million, Reliable at over $1.4 million, while Mahoney Foundry invested $610,000. Hendrickson made a $1.7 million investment with a building expansion. Lippert Components and McDonald's each invested over $300,000 in building a much-needed addition and a brand new restaurant, respectively. Several local businesses reached important milestones in 2021. Of particular significance, the Strand Theater was honored with the Governor's Century Award for 131 years in business. Others who reached milestones this year included American Legion Post 86 has been faithfully serving Kendallville veterans for 75 years. 95.5 The Hawk, believe it or not, turned 65 years old. And Kendallville Daycare turned middle age at 50 years young. The Deco Foundation and Jansen Family Dentistry each have been serving our area for 40 years. Life and Family Services has been educating young families for 35 years, while the Freedom Academy has been providing secondary educational needs for 30 years. Both Affordable Signs and Common Grace reached their 25th anniversary. After a bit of a dry spell, new housing is coming soon to Kendallville. The 39-lot, First phase of the Noble Creek subdivision near Southside Elementary School was announced by Lancia Homes. They have much of their infrastructure in place and will be looking to begin housing construction in earnest this spring. Overall, 194 various building permits were issued with a value of over $15 million. Each year, I have asked our department heads for a list of the past year's activities and goals for the upcoming year. We are extremely fortunate to have such talented employees willing to do so much to save tax dollars. So here are a few of the highlighted accomplishments of 2021. Our in-house IT person, Rick Kersey, is always looking for ways to keep us connected electronically at a good price. He transitioned our phones to voice over IP platform, which allows much greater flexibility and with a large cost savings. He also spec'd and installed a new Wi-Fi system at the Bixler Lake campground for campers to use while staying there. He also upgraded the police in-car laptops and installed a security system at the park office, all while dealing with the many technical issues that arise daily across the various departments, and mine probably more than others. Spurred on by COVID restrictions, he personally wired and installed the camera in the city council chambers to ensure the public could view council meetings while we were meeting virtually. We all know our emergency services have an undue amount of stress daily. As we attempt to keep our workers safe and healthy, Parkview provided 30 HeartSmart CT scan vouchers for all fire department staff members to receive this very important test. Chief McKinley indicated one of his goals for the community in 2021 was implementing a county-wide outdoor weather alerting system with a central activation of the tornado sirens. However, with this improved system, not only will the public be forewarned of tornadoes, but of other quick onset approaching severe weather such as high winds or hail. Collaborating with the Noble County Emergency Management Agency, countywide fire chiefs, and the National Weather Service, a NICS alert can now be sent warning the public of a storm or other weather hazards before it approaches. There will be ongoing community outreach and communications to our citizens of Noble County to help bring awareness of these improvements. Always replacing and taking care of the equipment that takes care of you, fire attack hose lines were replaced on all of our fire engines. A big shout out to the firefighters and other departments who helped with the downtown decoration and the task of setting Main Street Community Christmas tree, as it was quite the undertaking. The street department has a new leader. Brian Strange transferred from the water department and has taken to his new position quite well. He brings with him a variety of skills operating various types of equipment and has a real can-do attitude in helping other departments or working on whatever crazy new idea I seem to come up with. Unfortunately, parts availability and supply chain issues affected the LED retrofit program of our antique street lamps in 2021, but we expect the necessary parts to arrive next month. We are again the recipients of the Community Crossings Matching Grant, allowing us to complete about $1 million worth of street improvements across the city. Through INDOT's Community Crossing Grants program, over $3.3 million have been invested in Kendallville streets since 2017. We are extremely grateful to our state legislators for voting on this valuable program for our state. The Park Department also saw a change in leadership. Jim Pancup retired after 36 years of service to our park system, and we wish him well. Dawn McGann is now at the helm and has hit the ground running. Volunteers have completed a competitive disc golf course and have worked all year on the Woodland Trail. It's been utilized for one tournament, and we are excited to see several more are scheduled in the future. Maintenance staff completed several projects in-house, such as re-roofing the campground office, staining the gazebo, and restaining the campground office. They also built a firewood enclosure and replaced rotted boards on the nature observation decks. The mobile stage has been used for a number of free concerts in the park, and we anticipate its use at the downtown Pocket Park. Our partnership with the YMCA continued as a record number of area youngsters again attended Camp Weethunkatha and enjoyed many new adventures, created memories throughout this 10-week summer camp. The outdoor recreation complex stayed busy throughout the summer months, hosting baseball, softball, t-ball, ragball, flag football, and soccer games and tournaments. Adults and youth alike enjoyed participating in organized leagues. With families looking for ways to enjoy the outdoors in a safe manner, the Bixler Lake Campground had its second record-breaking season. As with all of us, the police department continues to deal with COVID, which added some challenges to their daily activities. The department was briefly at full staff until the retirement of Officer Michael McCann, but that issue was resolved with the hiring of Officer Pant at the end of the year. 2 replacement dispatchers were hired and have exceeded our expectations. The KPD took the fight on drugs to the streets. The plan to aggressively work narcotics investigations and utilize our canine officers has proven successful, as evidenced by 192 total drug charges, 85 of which were meth-related, up 69 cases from our 3-year average. Much of this increase can be attributed to having a full complement of officers and the department's focus on working drug investigations. Our 2 canine officers continue to be extremely effective in this endeavor. Nearly 300 searches were conducted, resulting in the discovery of methamphetamine, marijuana, fentanyl, cocaine, and heroin, as well as numerous items of paraphernalia. Our drone program was instituted to assist with the documenting crime and traffic crash scenes, search for lost individuals, escapee searches, and to assist other law enforcement agencies with searches. The drone has also been used to document festival attendance, search warrant scenes, and assist in perimeter security of barricaded subjects, as well as aid the fire department with real-time thermal imaging. Sergeant Gillison is our licensed drone pilot. The water department remains busy repairing and maintaining our water infrastructure, some of which is a century or more in age. They repaired over 15 main breaks and repaired or replaced 76 service lines, providing an estimated savings of $152,000 to our citizens. They also continued their hydrant sandblasting and repainting program. A number of upgrades to the Diamond Street plant were done, including a new roof, incoming master meter, and manifolds, as well as installing an underground seclusion valve. A copper and lead inventory of the entire system is in the offing for the department due to new IDEM and EPA regulations aimed at keeping our citizens safe. For our wastewater plant, the biggest news, of course, is the completion of the new solar field at the Old McRae refrigeration site, which will provide nearly 90% of the plant's power needs yearly. I am happy to announce we will have a ribbon-cutting ceremony in April to celebrate the project's completion. Transforming an unsightly brownfield site to a beautiful, efficient greenfield is something we are all quite proud of. There is only one other solar field that powers a wastewater facility in the entire state of Indiana. On sunny days, it can supply up to 100% of the energy needed to run the plant and sell back power to the grid simultaneously. The wastewater employees also work hard with our local industries to keep them and us in compliance with IDEM regulations. Several of the department employees continue to upgrade their certifications. The dedicated work of the Tree Commission continues to pay dividends as they applied for and were granted a $10,000 street grant from the DNR, which will provide for 80 new 2-inch saplings to be planted along our city streets and our parks and cemetery. The work done by the Kendallville Restorations, Inc. is amazing. They purchased 434 North Main Street in late 2019 and in 2021 was able to fulfill one of their organization's primary objectives. That is to provide a good single-family home for purchase and begin to stabilize a neighborhood in the process. Much of the rehabilitation work was performed by Impact Institute students, which is, to my way of thinking, the very definition of a win-win. Those students will learn skills that they can use throughout their adult life, regardless of their chosen profession. KRI, and by extension the entire Kendallville community, receives good quality remodeling work done at a fraction of the price. Other locations being rehabilitated include 420 Kruger Street and 415 Kruger Street. 420 is getting close to being finished as cabinets, appliances, and floors have just been ordered, whereas 415 was just recently acquired. Others are seeing the value of the work being done by Kendallville Restorations as demonstrated by our numerous personal donations, as well as receiving grants from the Noble County Economic Development Corporation, the Kendallville Local Development Corporation, and the Community Foundation of Noble County. 353 North Main Street and 322 North State Street were both purchased for demolition as they were beyond repair. The city partnered with KRI by performing the demolition work there. The goal is to restore neighborhoods one house at a time. The Impact Institute students have shifted from working on the Kruger Street house to building a Habitat for Humanity house on Newnham Avenue for a very blessed family to enjoy. Our Community Learning Center continues to amaze me with the wide array of offerings to area residents. The farmers market, pickleball, the many life skill classes, and local performing arts events are but a few examples of the huge asset it has become. I can't wait to see what the Industry 4.0 event brings in the partnership with the Noble County Economic Development Corporation, the Freedom Academy, and Impact Institute. I have always believed in setting the bar high when establishing goals. We may not reach all of them, but it keeps us striving to be our best. With that said, here are a few of our goals for 2022. Begin expanding our antique ornamental streetlights into neighborhoods that lack them. Install rental cabins at Bixler Lake Campground. Enhance our neighborhood revitalization efforts by hiring a building code enforcement officer. Continue to look for opportunities and locations to add pathways, trails, and connectivity for our citizens. Establish online building permit submittal and project reviews for contractors. Mill and resurface alleys. Upgrade, sandblast, and paint the Kruger Street Water Tower. Work with potential developers to attract quality apartments. I spent the past few minutes speaking to the many wonderful things achieved here and some of the reasons I feel so blessed to call Kendallville home, while not focusing so much on the negative. That philosophy might best be summed up by a quote by noted poet Walt Whitman. He said, "Keep your face always towards the sunshine, and the shadows will fall behind you." That's a viewpoint that I can live with. And with that, I am very much want to thank you for the privilege and honor to continue to serve as your mayor. And I would also like to thank Jenna Anderson for the recording of this. Thank you very much.